We'll go to submitter number 1 and page number 1. Mr. Bill Thompson. Good morning, Bill. Come on through and sit down and relax, Bill. This is a submission on behalf of Bill and Lyndon. Nice to see you here, Bill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning to you and to councillors.
You just want to pull this around.
Thompson, and I'd like to thank you for the job you do on our behalf. And I hope to persuade you to change it slightly with this submission.
Bill, can you just pull the mic around a bit? Thanks.
Yeah, how's that?
That's cool.
Working, thank you. Good. So, well, first of all, I should apologise, I guess. I'm aware of meeting procedure, and this submission is a rehash on the same subject, but a rehash of one I put in front of you last November, which is probably in your papers and you can discard. This is the one, just 2 sides. So I apologise for that, but lack of procedure. It's about not rest home villages, motels and other commercial enterprises. It's separately usable or inhabitable portions of private homes, residences in other words. And my thinking after I did is I have trouble understanding why home-based SUIPs are singled out as opposed to B&Bs, any other form of private accommodation. As I said, we're excluding commercial stuff here, purpose-built commercial stuff. This is people using their own homes to make a little bit of extra money, and well, that's probably about it, but we do it ourselves. That's probably pretty obvious, and it's an enjoyable thing to do. And we meet a lot of interesting people. So there's a list near the top of my submission, the extra rates, that's the list of what they are. They're the same for everybody. As you see, they're just charges, they're not done on values of any kind. And the first 2 lines define in council terms what an SUIP will have, which is a separate sink, bench or cooking facilities, separate living, entrance and bathroom. And those, as you can see, they're just design features in a house. They are very normal, particularly in a place like Taupo with its sloping land. Possibly up to half the houses are built in 2 stories, but anyway, a good many of them. And it makes sense to have a bathroom, and often there's a bedroom downstairs, and the addition of a sink bench and an outside door, which would be normal. That qualifies as an SUIP. But what I can't fathom is how and why that design difference means that visitors staying there must use more of the council facilities, water, rubbish and sewage, than those that stay at the B&B next door, or the whole house up the road, which is let out as a casual holiday home, and doesn't attract an SUIP charge of any kind. And I make the point here, visitors anywhere, paying or otherwise, the family coming over from England and staying for a few weeks with mum and dad or their children, they all use these services each and every day, the sewage, water and refuse, and Taupo loves it. That's in large part what Taupo is about, is having visitors and taking money off them in the process. How bad is that? So, but there are 2 aspects to this. There's the extra charges and then there's the AGC, the UAGC. And I've really put my case for the charges, and then visitors, I mean, can it really be said that somebody staying in an SUIP, do they shower and use the toilet, and visitors in other homes around town don't? I mean, it's a rhetorical question, clearly. It's going to lead to some health problems if in fact that is what happens, but it doesn't. And similarly with rubbish, they generate the same amount of rubbish wherever they're staying. In my place, in paying nicely to us, or in the neighbours next door with the family over from Australia for a couple of days. Same deal, they shower, they use the toilet, they throw rubbish out, preferably not out their car window. So SUIPs, to summarise, SUIP visitors make more use of these council facilities than any kind of visitors to any other home. And we're looking at an ongoing charge purely based on building design, and I can't find any other explanation. The AGC, well, I could quote from the annual plan, but it's to fund such things as leadership, governance, advocacy, emergency management, animal control and cemeteries. And I suppose I could grant that sometimes late on a Saturday night some animal control might be needed for some of our visitors downtown and a few too many beers. But in fact, individual visitors, they don't impact on these governance and leadership functions, animal control, cemeteries. I guess if you've been one of the ones that apparently don't shower and don't go to the toilet for a few days, you may succumb to a lack of hygiene. Due to a lack of hygiene, you need a cemetery plot, but, you know, again, facetious is all that is. So it comes back to our policy here, the SUIP policy, and I'm summarising again here, but my thinking is policy is put in place as a solution to a particular situation or a perceived problem. The existence of a problem is the reason for a policy. There's probably one exception to that worldwide, and that's if your name's Donald Trump and you're running for president. He doesn't justify anything. But try as I might, I can't see a problem that's peculiar to SUIPs here. So I'd like to make the point that Taupo thrives on it, but it's hosting visitors that creates the problem. It is not the type of building that they stay in. Where the visitors choose to stay has no bearing on how often they shower or use the toilet, and their rubbish still has to be processed. And this is a little bit harsh, and please don't take it as a criticism, but it's an observation. This particular rate could almost be called dishonest, insofar as it charges some but not others, and all for apparently no reason at all. If anyone can actually offer me an explanation, I'd be very willing to listen to it and have my mind changed. But I've thought about this for some months off and on, and I can't see anywhere where I've missed the point when you start to pull it apart like I've tried to do here today. So thank you all for your time. I believe this policy is misconceived, and I believe it should be scrapped and recoup the lost income. We all have to balance the books via the general rate. So thank you again.
Okay, thanks very much, Bill. Appreciate your time here today. Just before you go, sorry, there might be some questions from councillors. Any questions of Bill regarding this issue?
I would love to have some observations,
Yep, sure.
criticisms.
Councillor Harvey.
Can I just clarify, how much are you paying in rates, Bill?
Any of them pay this $1,375.76. It's a plus now, these are extra. And in our case, it's about 33%, but you know, that will vary depending on your base valuation, of course.
So your total rates bill is
yeah, well, I guess about 6,000. It's about 4 times that figure. But you know, that's.
And you have occasional paying guests.
Yes, we've taken has been about 9,000 to 10,000 a year this last year, and I think it's New Zealand wide, another 30% on that, about $13,000 to $14,000 we take in, and we pay tax. A lot of it comes in cash. These guys run around with $800 in cash. If we do spend it, we make an adjustment in our books. Not everyone might do that, but that's the nature of society, isn't it? There's a lot of under-the-counter market. So I'm not against paying extra, but in my view, the Inland Revenue Department does that. They're pretty good at skimming off the cream, and you make a bit more, you pay a bit more. No problem there.
The concern is that you feel not everyone is paying the same.
Yes, but it's not that I want everyone else to be dragged into the net. I think the idea of targeting a particular sector of the home accommodation, the SUIPs, which is probably the smallest one. I mean, is there much difference whether they pay or whether they don't? There certainly isn't as far as council services goes. They all go to the toilet, whatever, they shower, whatever, and they, rip up their rubbish and throw it away. Whether they stay at one of your places, I'm sure you'll have friends and family to stay at times, and we didn't think of charging them, and you're not an SUIP necessarily. But they do have the same impact as our guests who pay and stay for a day to a week. So that's where I'm coming from. But no, I actually don't agree with, as I try to make the point, Taupo is all about having visitors, almost all about having visitors to its environs. And I'm not saying this discourages the visitors, but if you're going to put a tax on visitors, put it on every visitor that comes in. You're going to have toll gates on the roads. Probably more visitors come in, and I would guess I'd have to be right, coming in, don't stay at an SUIP, they stay with friends or a B&B, or they rent the holiday home up the road, the complete house, which doesn't have an SUIP, so doesn't get pinged for it, but there's still holiday people living large and spending up large in town. So, yeah, I'm not trying to drag in others into this. I know I've got a vested interest in my own one, but that's the only reason I am interested, I guess. I just think it's ill-conceived or misplaced. As I said, it's not a criticism, it's an observation. I'm not very good with words, so don't take it that I'm picking holes here. I just think it could be done better.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Councillor Bernhard.
Thank you, Bill, for that. Just for my benefit, can you clarify for me, please, are you against the UAGC charge altogether or just a certain amount or portion of it?
The extra one, if it's a full charge, and I mean that's the obvious one. So what on earth is having visitors got to do with what a UAGC pays for? But this is an full extra UAGC. Now we pay one perfectly. I've got no problem paying rates. I know more than anyone else. But it's the extra that I learn about, and the justification of the reasons, the thinking, if you like, behind why they're charged in this instance.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Boddy.
In your bill, thank you for your submission. In your original one, you talked about the UAG at $250. It used to be $470 under land value. Where would you sit if this council, at some stage, probably in the next long-term plan, decided to considerably increase the uniform annual charge to, say, like Gisborne, $690?
Yeah, and you restrict the answer to 30% or some such of I don't know, the gross rate or something like that. Gross value, I'm not sure what it is. John, I'd have to get my head around that question, and yeah, I'd have to do some homework before I had a sensible opinion. But we come from Tauranga, as David's old hometown, and they have a fairly large UAGC down there. It never sort of bothered me one way or the other. I mean, it is what it is.
But effectively, through you, Mr. Chairman, you're concerned that these are additional charges put on you because our funding impact statement talks about the SUIPs. So it would impact on the amount of rates you would end up by paying.
You're talking about recovering the lost income if the SUIP, they'd only be scrapped I'm thinking on the residences, the residential, the home-based SUIPs. I gather from something that Mayor Ward sent to me just at the end of last week that it covers rest home villages, all these sorts of things. They're SUIPs too. And I guess the figures didn't break it down, but I would guess that the residential SUIPs are just a small fraction of what you take in from these charges noted here. And I said I don't want to go down the track with the commercial guys. They can fight their own battles. You know, you have a 1.7 differential rate in town, and I'm in favour of that. You know, they get their GST and it comes off their tax. That comes to about 1.7. So if it can be justified, I've got no problem with it. And rates of all kind can be justified. You know, we've got to pay them. Councils have got to run. So I'm not anti-rates at all. I just don't see the sheer common sense behind paying one group for having visitors and not another of the same ilk. So I don't have enough homework done, John, to comment on the level of UAGC.
Councillor Jollins.
Through the chair, thank you, Bill, for your presentation this morning, and I'm sure you're a lot more gentle on us than Donald Trump probably is. Just a couple of questions to get a sense of scale from this. Typically, how many people generally reside in your home permanently?
Without the visitors, 2 of us.
2, okay. And you mentioned how much sort of revenue you get from your visitors, but how many extra people would that be during a typical year for you?
It's probably more like a 30% occupancy rate. Yeah. I mean, you can sort of figure we charge 130 a night for 2 people. We've taken this year about 14,000, I think. Don't quote me, but yeah, that's the last 12 months. So something, and we have up to 6 people in it, but that's very extreme. It's normally 2, sometimes 3 with a child. So you're looking at about 100 days for an average of a bit over 2 people.
And just to clarify, your request is for council to have a look at these charges as regards residential homes, private residents.
Just those, nothing else. Just the home-based SUIP, which there are many. I mean, it's the old granny flat. You know, they date back a long, long time. These things. it's the old granny flat to bring your mother or your mother-in-law in, and, for the last few years.
And of the suite of extra charges that you've got there, is there one that you feel is more unequitable than others? I'm assuming that.
No, not really. I don't think any of them can be justified.
Any of them?
No.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay.
Through the,
Councillor Williamson.
through the chair, thank you, Bill. Obviously, you've made it clear that you don't see any apparent reason at all for the SUIP. And you used the word dishonest. I know you probably didn't mean that in the context, but you're probably suggesting it's sort of the unfairness of it, perhaps, and for example, not capturing everybody that perhaps would be subject to the SUIP within the district, perhaps as well.
With the wrong take on my submission, and it'll be my fault, not yours, John, but no, as I said before, I'm not trying to get other people into the net. I'm suggesting that home-based SUIPs should be just rated as a residence, just like the B&B up the road does, who takes just as many customers or guests as any SUIP. Plenty of B&Bs take 4, 5, 6 people.
I wasn't suggesting you were raising that point. I was sort of just raised myself, just to yeah.
Okay, just follow that up, if I may, through you, Mr. Chairman. One of the things that's stated in our policy, if you remove the sink from the kitchen, it doesn't become an SUIP. To you, would that make any impact on your present situation?
No, when you talk to people, they say, well, block off the sink, get it inspected and unblock it again and just carry on business as usual. And it's an option that we're not going to take, but, it's no, I don't see why I should have to. This is, as I said, trying to make clear, it's a design feature in a house. I mean, I bet there's more than one of you who've got an SUIP, and I don't know whether you'll be paying rates or not. It's a fact. When you research the council database and go and look at a house, and I know of at least 2 that are SUIPs, no question about it, and they're not caught in this net. Now, I'm not trying to say go out and get them, although I did get a letter from Tony Wilkinson a while back offering to do just that, so if I provided names and addresses, I declined that with thanks. But no, it's not to get the ones who are not being caught at the moment, and some of them should be, if you like, according to council policy. I just treat us like any other B&B type operation. We don't even do the B out of the B&B, we just do the bed. And I've got a bottle of milk, that's all you get. So, you're out on the town. Once you come and stay with us, you're out on the town at the cafes and the bars and buying stuff. So, thank you, John.
Can I just ask the officers, perhaps, at what stage does the SUIP kick in? Is it when, say, when people go to order the house or something like that? How do we find these clients that need to be charged these extra SUIPs?
Right, yeah, that, is this on? Yep. Primarily through building consent data. When, say, new house has been built, you see that. Other than that, the team does do a little bit of research on websites to see what has been offered in the marketplace. And we acknowledge they're absolutely correct. We would not be capturing everyone, but the team does their best.
Could I just then make the point? Recently, I approached officers of the council in regards of one property to be marketed by Harcourts that was paying this extra rate, but it was not self-contained because the bathroom facilities were part of the private house, and I believe that's been adjusted. So as we've had by the submitter been pointed out to us, there are inconsistencies in our policy, and that really needs to be looked at. So I appreciate your submission.
Thank you, John.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, Bill. Good to see you, and we'll take this forward, and we'll be deliberating these in a couple of weeks, so we'll certainly be back in touch. But thank you, second time you've raised this, so we appreciate your views. Yeah. Okay, thank you.